It's 8 o'clock and you are watching News Plus right here on ZTN Prime. Good evening. My name is Faith Nyaude. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a quick look at stories making the headlines tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has presided over a Zim-China $55 million trade deal that was signed at State House today. We will be giving you details of that deal and what it means for the Zimbabwe-China relationship. On News Plus, we are also going to look at the 700,000 Rand washing powder theft syndicate that the Zimbabwean and South African border authorities did make a bust on. A one-stop digital gateway for investors that has been unveiled by Zimbabwe. We'll give you details here on News Plus. And later on in sport, a big one as Dynamo set up Zimbabwe date in the Chibuku Super Cup. Stay tuned for that. Now, in our first report this evening, President Mnangagwa yesterday presided over the signing ceremony of the $55 million economic and technical cooperation agreement between Zimbabwe and China, which will finance programs and projects to be agreed upon by the two countries. Now, the two countries also exchanged letters for food assistance worth $6.9 million in a show of the fruitful relations that exist between Harare and Beijing.
Bilateral relations between Zimbabwe and the People's Republic of China have matured over the past 45 years. It's against this backdrop that the two governments today signed an economic and technical agreement that is expected to advance Zimbabwe's economic fortunes. The agreement, presided over by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, saw Zimbabwe and China deepen the strategic alliance, signing a $55 million economic and technical cooperation agreement alongside $6.9 million in emergency food aid. The deal reinforces China's role as a key development partner in Zimbabwe's economic recovery and humanitarian response efforts.
But today, we signed an economic and technical cooperation agreement worth 400 million renminbi, which is about $55 million to finance programs and projects to be agreed by the two countries, the two parties. The support will be invested in key priority areas of our economy.
The signing ceremony, held at State House in Harare, marks a fresh milestone in the enduring partnership between the two nations, with China reaffirming its role as Zimbabwe's largest source of foreign direct investment, having injected more than $4 billion to date. For Beijing, the gesture reflects deepening mutual trust and a commitment to shared prosperity.
This year, as we celebrate the 45th anniversary of our brotherly relations, today's signing ceremony takes on special significance. It is yet another testament to our unbreakable bonds between us and the powerful reaffirmation of China's unwavering solidarity with our Zimbabwean brothers.
The funds will support priority projects, including those financed through grants, while the food aid will help cushion vulnerable communities during Zimbabwe's drought recovery. The latest cooperation package adds to 17 existing bilateral agreements spanning infrastructure, mining, education, and health.
As you may be aware, in September 2024, the government of Zimbabwe and the People's Republic of China signed 13 memoranda of understanding, including one on exchange and cooperation in the field of economic development, where China will dispatch specialists and groups to carry out research, training of Zimbabwe officials, and providing macro or policy recommendations.
The rice donation, over 6,000 tons, forms part of China's humanitarian response to the El Nino-induced drought that has strained food security in the region. Beyond emergency relief, the agreement reflects growing cooperation in Zimbabwe's long-term development priorities, from infrastructure and agriculture to education and health.
The agreements mark a significant step forward in our cooperation and will undoubtedly bring about mutual benefits and prosperity to our nations. Indeed, the achievement of our National Development Strategy 1 goals is certain with such kind of support from our key development partners as China.
Presided over by President Mnangagwa, the occasion reaffirmed China's status not just as a financial partner, but as a steadfast ally in Zimbabwe's development story. Eben Mabunda, reporting for ZTN Prime at the State House.
Now, we are still staying with this story and trying to find out the significance of this agreement and what it means for Zimbabwe. To help us do that, we are joined by Desire Mchipisi, who is an investment analyst. Desire, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on News Plus. Now, on the back of this agreement, what is the significance of it and why should we be looking at it?
Well, good evening. This is a milestone. Especially with Vision 2030, we are going to see the development of the infrastructure and as well as the transfer of the skills. And also it strengthens the economic relationships between the two countries, as we have seen in the past. So this is significant, and it will really help moving the economy forward.
Now, Desire, there are no trade tariffs imposed on Zimbabwe by China. What would that mean for the bilateral relations between the two countries?
Well, that simply means there is easy access to the Chinese markets, and this will give Zimbabwe pricing advantage. And as a result, it has positioned it in a competitive way in the market, because we are able to price lower than your competitors, and as a result, it really improves the exports. So we're also likely to going to see an improve in the trade balance, which in the past we have been seeing a trade deficit, whereby having less exports than imports. But without tariffs, it means you can be able to push for more exports. And also, this can also promote local beneficiation, which means we are now able to export value-added products.
Now, Desire, last question before we let you go. We have seen a lot of investment into Zimbabwe's mining sector by China. How can Zimbabwe better leverage its minerals in this particular regard?
Well, it can leverage that by ensuring that they build infrastructure around the mining corridors. For example, you can have roads being built there, and you also have some other supporting infrastructure. And also to ensure that there is strong ESG standards to prevent land degradation, and to also promote the environment. And the other thing is to ensure that there is transparency, transparent agreements, and also promote local participation by ensuring that there are joint ventures. And the other thing, you can also have mining special economic zones that will also attract downstream investments.
Well, Desire, thank you so much for your time and for your insights. That was Desire, who was joining us as an investment analyst. Now, we're still looking at the Zimbabwe-China relationship. We are now crossing over to our correspondent, Wadzanai Sansole, as she helps us unpack trade relations that are there between Zimbabwe and China. Wadza, good evening.
Good evening, Faith. Let's now take a look at the trade statistics between Zimbabwe and China. But before doing that, it is imperative to start by pointing out that there are strong relations between Zimbabwe and China that date back over 45 years. And the relationship between the two countries is not just limited to business exchanges, but also extends to social relations and exchange skills. Now, the value of Zim-China bilateral trade for the past 3 years shows us that in 2022, it jumped up 29% from 2021, putting it at $2.43 billion US dollars. And in 2023, it was $3.1 billion US dollars. That's a 30% increase. In 2024, however, it was pegged at $3.8 billion US dollars. So that's a 23% increase, with $2.4 billion imports and $1.4 billion exports. Now, the expectation is that in 2025, it should be nearing the $5 billion mark. And China is Zimbabwe's third import source, sitting at 15% of import value, with Zimbabwe mostly exporting tobacco, semi-manufactured gold, and nickel. And then if you also take a look at what it is importing, we have mineral fuels, machinery, mechanical appliances, and vehicles. Back to you, Faith.
Well, thank you so much for that explanation. Quick and short and, of course, well explained. Now, meanwhile, President Mnangagwa has said that his government holds cleanliness in the highest regard. Hence, tidiness in state premises and institutions is imperative. Speaking to the media after donating ground maintenance equipment to the Air Force of Zimbabwe at State House earlier on today, the Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces described his administration as a clean government.
This is not intended to do agricultural work for production. This is intended to keep state premises and institutions clean by cutting grass around state institutions. We are a very smart government. So we are very happy that we've had this donation, and I'll make sure that it is properly used. And as I go around state institutions, I'll inspect to make sure state institutions are kept clean, grass cut throughout the year.
The equipment will be used for clearing, landscape, and general ground maintenance across Air Force bases. Now, Commander of the Air Force of Zimbabwe, Air Marshal Jacob John Jede, thanked the President for the gesture, describing it as timely and practical.
We are excited with this donation, which we were given by His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. We are going to use the tractors in mowing grass along the runways, because as you are aware, along the runways there will be grass which will be growing there, and it's something which will disturb our aviation industry.
Now, we are still talking about investment matters, and the Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency has launched an e-regulation portal, a digital platform that consolidates all rules, procedures, and requirements for doing business here in Zimbabwe. Officials say it is a major boost for the country's investment climate, promising greater transparency, reduced bureaucracy, and improved competitiveness for both local and foreign investors. Our business correspondent, Melissa Chachkobo, has more.
Imagine being an investor, eager to set up business in Zimbabwe. You've got your capital ready, but no clear map of the road ahead. Regulations are scattered, forms are in different offices, and advice changes from desk to desk. That can be cumbersome and a major put-off. But now the script has changed. Such an inefficient, time-consuming process is now being streamlined into a single click. The e-regulation portal integrates all requirements and government obligations into one digital space. An online guide, it details every step from legal requirements to costs and timelines, acting as an instruction manual for investing in Zimbabwe. Already 21 ministries, departments and agencies are on board, and the system is still working towards adding more improvements and government institutions.
Through methodical review and collaboration, we will identify opportunities to reduce costs, eliminate redundancies, and shorten turnaround times. This ongoing work will ultimately culminate in the development of the online investor single window, an integrated digital platform designed to enable businesses to complete all essential registration and licensing procedures in a seamless, efficient, and transparent manner.
The initiative is Zimbabwe's attempt to turn a complex regulatory landscape into a clear, accessible roadmap, replacing trial and error with certainty and speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the operationalization of the e-regulations portal is one of the strategies of implementing a decision that was made by Cabinet to urgently review the current highly regulated operating environment, which has proved to be an albatross to business both at entry and established levels.
The European Union says the launch sends a strong signal of Zimbabwe's commitment to reform and transparency. They believe it could help unlock stronger trade deals and partnerships, building on years of economic cooperation.
For companies that are looking to invest in Zimbabwe, and we had many requests during the business forum, this portal will be an invaluable resource, providing them with the information they need to make informed decisions and navigate the investment process with confidence. I would like to commend UNCTAD, the SIDA, the National Project Team.
With Zimbabwe vying for investment in a competitive region, the portal is being positioned as a key tool to boost ease of doing business and to tell the world, including major trading partners, that the country is open for business. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chitkobo in Harare.
A 700,000 rand washing powder bust by the Zimbabwe-South African border authorities. We have the details on News Plus after this.
Government has approved a comprehensive urban state land management policy aimed at ending land baronism and restoring order to the country's chaotic urban land sector. The urban state land management policy is grounded in a comprehensive framework comprising 6 interconnected pillars designed to ensure the effective, sustainable and equitable management of urban state land. These pillars collectively address the multifaceted challenges of urban state land management. By establishing a robust structure that promotes transparency, accountability, efficiency and compliance, the policy aims to foster orderly urban development, protect public interests and enhance the quality of life for urban residents while ensuring the sustainable and lawful use of urban state land. 1. Governance and decentralization. 2. Innovation and technology. 3. Procedures and processes. 4. Regulatory framework and enforcement. 5. Infrastructure development. 6. Planning and compliance. The key strategies underpinning the innovation and technology pillar are: A. Utilization of a comprehensive electronic urban state land management system that integrates all aspects of urban state land management, providing a centralized, efficient and transparent platform for managing land-related data, transactions and services. B. Undertake a comprehensive digitization initiative to convert all manual documents related to urban state land management into digital formats, creating a centralized and easily accessible digital repository. C. Implementation of automation technologies to streamline and optimize land management processes, reducing manual interventions and enhancing operational efficiency. And D. Introduction of secure tenure documents and permits with advanced security features. Securitization of land ownership documents. In order to combat the spread of fake and fraudulent land ownership documents, the Ministry is proposing a raft of strategies, key among them the Urban Land Information Management System and securitization tenure documents. The following documents were identified under the securitization process. 1. Title deeds. 2. Lease agreement with option to purchase. 3. Lease agreement terminable. 4. Offer letters. 5. Memorandum of understandings or memorandum of agreements. 6. Planning instruction or authority. 7. Survey instructions. 8. Certificate of compliance. Features of the lease agreement are as follows. 1. Hologram feature. 2. Variable barcode. 3. Security paper with watermark. 4. Setters QR code. 5. Fluorescent silver ink. 6. Relief background pattern. 7. Invisible fluorescent ink.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Plus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, South African authorities have arrested 8 suspects, among them 6 Zimbabweans and 2 local citizens, over the theft of washing powder worth at least 722,000 rand in Limpopo province. The accused persons, Gerald Dube, Ivan Magona, Mpho Justice, Nikumbe, Benjamin Zumunga, Jacob Muchema, Funzani Mandinginye, Stephen Chibunoita and Raymond Stole appeared in court, and their case was postponed to the 13th of August 2025 for bail application. During arrest, the police also seized 300,000 rand in cash, 2 trucks and Toyota Corolla from the accused persons. Hawk spokesperson for Limpopo Division Warrant Officer Letu Nyamroa said the gang appeared in court on the 5th of August at the Musina Magistrate Court for alleged theft and contravening the Immigration Act. Now, still on our look at News Plus, we are talking about health matters. Government says that the ongoing renovations at Parinyato Group of Hospitals will not only improve service delivery, but also strengthen the country's healthcare training capacity. This emerged during a high-level ministerial tour of the Second Republic's flagship projects that was led by the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jean van Muswere, in Harare this Wednesday. Local Government and Public Works Minister Daniel Karwe, who was also part of the delegation, said that the new water and sewer systems at Parinyato will be fully operational by September, while the training school will be ready by the 1st of September, and the nurses' accommodation will be ready by the end of October, and the maternity wing will be ready by year-end.
And the Mbuyane and the maternity wing will be ready by end of the year. So basically, this phase 1 of the refurbishment of Parinyato Group of Hospitals will be ready by December 2025. We are happy with both the progress and the quality of work that we are witnessing. I'm sure you've all seen the quality of work that is coming out of it. It's speaking to the future, it's speaking to Vision 2030.
Now, Health and Childcare Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshura does believe that the upgrades will create a cleaner and safer environment for patients, nurses, as well as medical students.
We are looking at a facility that will be completed and will be able to double the intake of nurses when the renovations are complete. So that will be a great thing, because our vision for 2030 is to double the health workforce. So it means we have to increase the training for all our health workers, including the nurses who will be housed here. We hope to see this being extended to other hospitals.
After a tour of the hospitals, the ministerial delegation tour also included Kunji Dam, which is now at 62% complete and is expected to be fully functional by the end of this year, 2025. The Kunji Dam project is seen as a long-term solution to boost supply and ease pressure on the aging Morton Jeffrey plant.
The current construction success level is at around 62% in terms of construction, and we believe that before the end of this year, the dam will have been commissioned by His Excellency the President, Dr. Edi Mnangagwa. Thousands of jobs will be created both downstream and upstream.
Now let's shift our focus to some food security issues. Zimbabwe's fight against hunger has received a significant boost after Japan committed $1.3 million United States towards a new food assistance program that is targeting 32,000 vulnerable people across the country. We get more details from our correspondent, Francisca Msheche.
Zimbabwe has over the years experienced recurrent droughts. These droughts have largely been attributed to climate change, leaving millions food insecure. The country has thus been pursuing long-term resilience building strategies. The strategies focus on strengthening communities' capacity to withstand shocks and adapt to changing conditions. The $1.3 million United States committed to Zimbabwe by Japan is expected to provide a significant boost to the implementation of the strategies.
The government of Zimbabwe remains committed to working hand in hand with the World Food Programme to ensure that these resources are deployed effectively and reach those most in need.
The funding was announced at a signing ceremony in Harare earlier today. It is part of a renewed partnership between the government of Japan, the World Food Programme, WFP, and the government of Zimbabwe under the project titled Providing Unconditional Humanitarian Food Transport to Food Insecure People in Targeted Areas. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Japanese ambassador to Zimbabwe, Shinichi Yamanaka, emphasized his government's ongoing support to Zimbabwe, especially in improving food security and resilience among disadvantaged communities.
It will provide the most vulnerable people with a basket of rations, comprising cereals such as maize, millet, and sorghum, vegetable oil, and pulses, to alleviate food access shortages.
Over the past 6 years, Japan has been providing food assistance through the World Food Programme, amounting to $11.4 million United States dollars, supporting about over 200,000 people. WFP Country Director and Representative Barbara Clemens stated that the current initiative will be implemented under the government's Food Deficit Mitigation Program.
This program is a cornerstone of Zimbabwe's national response to food insecurity.
Clemens described the initiative as a cornerstone of Zimbabwe's national response to food insecurity under the Food Deficit Mitigation Strategy. She also reaffirmed the importance of continued collaboration between government and development partners to create a more food-secure future for the nation.
We must continue strengthening communities so that are better able to withstand future shocks. It is through these sustained investments in livelihood, nutrition, and social protection that we can break the cycle of hunger for good.
As Zimbabwe continues to pursue long-term resilience-building strategies, partnerships like this one remain crucial. The latest contribution by the Japanese is not just a gesture of goodwill, but a lifeline for thousands of vulnerable people across the country. For ZTN Prime, I am Francisca Msheche in Harare.
Now on to some housing matters. Government has reaffirmed its commitment to provide decent and affordable houses to public servants to help foster stability and a conducive environment for them to thrive both personally and professionally. Addressing the Social Services Cluster meeting in Harare today, Deputy Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Reverend Paul Damasane, who was standing in for the Chief Secretary, Dr. Martin Roshwaya, said government considers the welfare of its workers who form the backbone of the public service delivery.
In a bid to transform the lives of its workers, government is rolling out a plan to provide decent and affordable accommodation, a move that is said to bring relief and hope to thousands. But that's not all. This initiative is also part of a larger effort to revitalize the national cooperatives policy, one that will put the needs of workers at the forefront.
Therefore, access to decent and affordable housing is not just a benefit, but it is a necessity that fosters stability, dignity, and a conducive environment for our officers to thrive both personally and professionally. As government, we are deeply committed to ensuring that all our staff members at every level have decent accommodation, and therefore any opportunities and efforts to provide such accommodation is most welcome. We will soon be having a reviewed national cooperatives policy that will take into consideration the structuring, operation.
Zimbabwe National Cooperative Federation Sinamo Tutisan says cooperatives should be run in partnership with the private sector to empower government officials. Tutisan believes the revitalization of cooperatives policy will help deal with the chaos within some cooperative schemes.
Allow us to run cooperatives properly. This is what we are going to do. We have spoken to the private sector. Initially, it was the government of Zimbabwe that released land. Lots of land which runs into billions of dollars. And you find the national housing stock, most of it was contributed by cooperatives. As chaotic as it is, as unstructured as it is, but if you look at it, it has impacted positively on the housing inflation.
Digital transformation strategist Dr. Dennis Magaya believes that understanding artificial intelligence is crucial for institutions to work more efficiently, reduce administrative burdens, and unlock new opportunities.
We really need to latch on to any one of these technologies in our businesses, in our institutions, in our organizations, in order to leverage the speed at which these technologies are accelerating. One of the direct impacts of these technologies is that for the first time in history, advanced technologies are cheap.
As the government continues to modernize the public service by embracing AI, it aims to address current challenges with more effective and compassionate public service. For ZTN Prime, I'm Latwo Nyango in Harare.
You are watching News Plus. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Got some questions about Showmax? Well, we've got the answers. What is Showmax? Showmax is not a TV channel. It's a streaming service with tons of hit series, movies, and more. Plus, Premier League live on mobile. Just pick what you want and hit play. No schedule or airing times. With Showmax, you watch what you want, when you want, and where you want. For any other queries, find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, or TikTok.
Welcome back to News Plus. Now, unfortunately, we bring some very sad news. A devastating fire broke out at Kungwezao Children's Home in Nerutanga, Buhera, destroying property that was worth $45,000 and leaving dozens of vulnerable children without proper shelter. The cause of this fire is still under investigation, although it is suspected to have been an act of arson. The founder and director of the children's home, Wimbai Rukangasha Mujganazo, expressed deep concern over the incident, describing it as a heartbreaking setback for the children and the entire institution.
Our orphanage house, our orphanage home, yatakapedzisa kuvaka muna 24 December 24, yakapiswa and hatisati taziva kuti ndiani akapisa, asi moto wakatangira kunze. Mapurisa vari kuita ma-investigations avo and they are also coming to that conclusion yekuti inogona kunge yakave arson yekuti umwe munhu akauya akapisa hake. Imba iyi yanga yakavakirwa kuti vana vane urema, ma-orphans edu, ma-vulnerable children edu, kuti vawane pekugara. Computers avo, ma-laptops, ma-phones, zvakatsvira imomo.
Quite sad news indeed. Now, we are slowly counting down to the Heroes' Day holidays. The road to independence and to attaining this freedom was not an easy one. Many men and women put their lives on the line to liberate the country from the shackles of colonial rule. Now, in this month of our heroes, tonight we profile the life of ZIPRA founder Jason Ziapapamoyo.
Jason Ziapapamoyo, popularly known as JZ, was the second vice president of ZAPU and founder of the Zimbabwe People's Revolutionary Army ZIPRA. He died in Zambia on January 22, 1977 in a parcel bomb explosion and was reburied in Zimbabwe on the 11th of August 1981. Jason Ziapapamoyo was born in Plumtree and attended Mzengwane High School in Essexvale, now eSegodini. He trained as a builder and carpenter and joined the trade union movement in Bulawayo in the 1950s. He later joined the Bulawayo branch of the Southern Rhodesian African National Congress, ANC, and became its chairman. His political activities led to his arrest and detention in 1959. Jason Moyo held executive posts in the ANC, National Democratic Party, NDP, ZAPU, and the People's Caretaker Council, the PCC. When the parties were banned, Moyo left for Lusaka, Zambia as a member of ZAPU's external wing to direct the first stages of the armed struggle. In 1976, he became the second vice president of ZAPU and built ZIPRA, the party's military wing, into a formidable guerrilla force over many years in exile, while also mobilizing worldwide support for the freedom of Zimbabwe and opposition to illegal minority rule. He worked hard to coordinate both the political and military objectives of the armed struggle and advocated unity between ZIPRA and ZANLA forces. For his efforts, the late Jason Moyo had a high school outside Bulawayo and a major road in Harare named after him.
Let's now take a look at news from beyond our borders. Now, the U.S. will require citizens from Malawi and Zambia to pay a $15,000 deposit for a tourist or business visa, according to the U.S. State Department. The 12-month pilot program aims to curb visa overstays or where screening and vetting information is considered deficient. Officials say that citizens of other countries other than Malawi and Zambia may also soon need to pay a similar deposit, which will be returned at the end of their visit to the United States. Over in South Africa, the government is putting together a list of measures to cushion local industries from the impacts of the 30% tariff hike that was imposed by the US on nearly all South African exports, which took effect on Friday. The South African government has reaffirmed its commitment to continued negotiations with the US aimed at securing a new trade deal. In the meantime, it is fast-tracking a support package for affected sectors. According to estimates by South Africa's central bank, the tariffs could lead to the loss of about 100,000 jobs across various industries, with some sectors facing more acute challenges than others.
We're going to start feeling it immediately. Already there's some of our customers that have found stock macadamias elsewhere, which we were targeting and hoping that we're going to still supply them this year. But they've already found other sources elsewhere where they don't have these huge tariffs. The US has historically been a third of our customer base, so we need to go and find alternative customers. What's sad is, this customer base was built up over 20 or 30 years, and that's all gone to pieces now. The reality is they still want to buy from us, but 30% tariffs is just unaffordable for them to buy at those sort of levels.
The government is now.
In Sudan, the Sudanese Army commander Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has vowed to keep fighting the Rapid Support Forces, popularly known as the RSF, until their defeat. It was officially established in 2013 and later integrated into Sudan's security structure. The RSF remained largely autonomous under the leadership of Mohamed Hamadan Dagalo, known as Hemed. Hemed continues to call for dialogue with the army to achieve democratic civilian rule. Since fighting erupted between the army and the RSF in April of 2023, this conflict has claimed over 20,000 lives and left more than 33,000 people injured. This conflict has also forced approximately 12 million people to flee, while more than 25.6 million others are experiencing a severe food crisis.
تنتهي بعد نهاية الجماعة ديل كلهم ما حيي كل الناس الآن بقاتلوا في كل مكان في السودان.
Over in the Congo, over 54 former fighters associated with Convention pour la Résolution Populaire, CRP, laid down their arms to the Congolese army in Ituri province on Tuesday. Over 54 members of the CRP that was once led by Thomas Lubanga have now surrendered. This comes after intensified military action that was led by General Bruno Mandevu under the orders of General Luboya Nkashama, governor and operators commander in Ituri. Despite the recent DRC M23 agreement, armed clashes between M23 and Wazalendo, who support regular DR forces, continue. This week, M23 reportedly captured the villages of Ngululu and Ndete, further advancing in Masisi territory.
La pression militaire exercée par les forces armées contre les groupes armés hostiles au processus, voici les fruits. Du 26 à nos jours où les opérations militaires ont été lancées par les commandants des opérations, par les commandants secteur opérationnel Ituri, le général Bruno Mandevu, sur instruction du gouverneur militaire, du commandant des opérations, lieutenant-général Boyan Kashamadjoni, voici plus de 60 éléments de CRP rendus. Ils se sont rendus aux forces armées.
An update from Rwanda, where Rwanda has confirmed that it will accept up to 250 migrants from the U.S. in a deal that was agreed with President Donald Trump's administration. According to Rwandan government spokesperson Yolande Makolo, under the scheme of deportees will be given workforce training, healthcare and accommodation to jumpstart their lives in Rwanda. Human rights experts have raised concerns that removals to a nation that is not a migrant's place of origin, known as a third country, could violate international law. Now, the trade deal between the United States and the European Union, EU, has sparked widespread criticism across political and business circles in Germany, with officials and experts saying that the deal has blocked free trade and seriously harmed Germany's pillar automotive industry. According to the trade agreement that was announced by US President Donald Trump and the EU Commission President, the vast majority of EU exports to the US, including pharmaceuticals, cars and parts, and semiconductors, will face a 15% tariff rate, while European steel, aluminium, and copper products exported to the US will continue to be subject to a 50% tariff. Trump did announce that under that agreement, the EU will purchase $750 billion worth of energy products from the US and increase its investment in the US by $600 billion.
Trotzdem sind diese Zölle weiterhin zu hoch. Finde ich es nicht richtig, dass man andere Länder zwingt, im Inland Niederlassungen zu errichten, weil man sie ansonsten mit Zöllen ausgrenzen würde. Am besten ist es für den freien Welthandel, wenn die Zölle möglichst niedrig sind. Und ich sage immer, die besten Zölle sind keine Zölle, weil wir damit einfach die technologische Reife auch abbilden können und das beste Produkt findet seinen Kunden. Und Zölle sind immer eine Marktverzerrung. Insofern hoffe ich, dass Amerika die Zölle weiter senkt, dass wir wieder gegen Null gehen und eben damit einen freien Austausch der Waren ermöglichen und das möglichst weltweit.
In Russia, they say that its forces have captured another settlement in Dnipropetrovsk region, while Ukraine has reported repelling Russian offenses. Russia's Ministry of Defense said in its latest briefing that its air defense systems shot down 146 Ukrainian drones over the past day. According to the ministry, the Russian army also attacked Ukrainian transportation infrastructure and military bases in over 140 regions. And now an update from Gaza, where a number of people were reported killed and injured on Tuesday while they were attempting to obtain food aid in the Zakim province in the north of the Gaza Strip. Local media reported that 31 people had been killed by the Israeli army fire since dawn, including 14 individuals that were waiting for humanitarian aid. The Israeli military has not commented on the claims. Israel has seen widespread condemnation of the humanitarian situation that is taking place in Gaza. The Israeli government denies that famine or a policy of starvation is taking place, accusing Hamas of looting aid shipments, which the group actually rejects.
كنا غابة نستنى المساعدات، وأنا الحمد لله جبت كيس طحين من تحت، أقسم بالله من تحت المقطورة جبته جنب اليهود، سحبته لأخواتي عشان نروحوا للدار وناكل ونشرب. إحنا يا عم بغزة بنعاني من جوع يا عم، كل يوم قصف ودمار وجوع، مش عارفين وين نتلقاها من الجوع ولا من القصف. طب القصف رضينا فيه وراحوا دورنا وراحوا بيوتنا، رضينا يا عم بالقصف، بالجوع كمان والله الله ما قال. هذا عشان كيس طحين وبالاخر نموت احنا. وين هذا؟ وين احنا؟ ايش اللي جرانا؟ ايش اللي صار لنا؟ شعب غزه هيك اللي طول عمره بيطلع غزه طول عمره بتطلع، عشان كيس طحين نموت بعض نخسر شبابنا. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل على الدول العربيه وعلى كل واحد مسؤول في قطاع غزه اللي ما هو راضي يفك عن اهل غزه.
Now let's take a look at some business news.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Let's now take a look at some business news. Industry stakeholders met with government officials in Harare today for a consultative workshop that is aimed at crafting the Zimbabwe National Industrial Development Policy. This policy seeks to boost industrial growth and propel Zimbabwe towards middle-income economy status. Similar workshops are being held nationwide, paving the way for the development of a draft blueprint. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Dr. Thomas Ushe Wutete speaks.
We shall now go back, do what government needs to do, private sector group go back, do what it needs to do. You and I as consumers will go back and do what we need to do. And the most important thing, take away that I would like to see people coming from is to encourage and deliver a real manufacturing sector that get up to about 30% contribution to GDP.
Meanwhile, industry players are eagerly awaiting for the final policy with hopes that it will address the country's pressing need for improved road and rail infrastructure. These infrastructure challenges have been significant impediments to the growth in the manufacturing sector as well as other industries.
We need to have very reliable infrastructure, reliable electricity supplies. We need to have reliable transport, road, rail network to transport raw materials and finished goods. That's critical. We need to have a stable macroeconomic environment, reasonably stable exchange rates, because manufacturing sector investments and projects are longer term in terms of the return of those projects.
Still in business, Zimbabwe-Namibia are seeking to gain insights from one another in order for them to be able to enhance agricultural productivity. This is after a 20-member delegation from Namibia's Kavango region made a courtesy visit to the Mashonaland West Minister of Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Marian Chombo. The delegation, which includes farmers, councillors and government officials from Namibia, are in the country for a 5-day visit, went on to tour Pakombe Farm in Shimba.
The delegation, consisting of 20 members, is currently in the country to acquire as much knowledge as possible, enabling them to implement upon their return to Namibia.
There's a lot we are going to learn from here, both the farmers, the politicians, I'm sure even the media, because the profession of the media, you find them, they are also part-time farmers. There is nothing to say much here, but what one should just say is what we are seeing. What we are seeing here is what one have to learn. So after learning, you have then to go back and see what you have to plow back.
Such initiatives are part of the government's aim of promoting joint ventures among farmers. By utilizing 200 hectares, one of the farmers, Paspanojga, has set a standard for productivity that others in Mashonaland West are encouraged to follow.
We're encouraging joint ventures within the farming community, whereby you can have an agreement with the farmers around. So he has about 200-300 hectares to himself, but he plows about over 1,000. So he has joint ventures with farmers around.
As a result of the government's land redistribution initiative, Paspanojga has successfully developed a variety of farming enterprises 25 years later, including livestock, poultry, and piggery. Paspanojga not only motivated the attendees, but also imparted knowledge regarding the complexities of agricultural techniques and strategies, in addition to the commercial aspects of farming.
In the first years of my production, we started doing about 4 hectares of tobacco. But now we've moved to 200 hectares of tobacco. We started having about 10 hectares of maize, but now we're doing around 300 hectares of maize.
So I would do 30 hectares of wheat, but now we're doing about 300 hectares of winter crop.
The delegation is scheduled to attend the Mashonaland West Agricultural Show, with the collaboration in agriculture between Zimbabwe and Namibia expected not only to improve food security, but also enrich the region.
Now we take a look at some sporting action.
Two fans, one game. One of them paid for quality, the other didn't. ZTM Prime now offers premium live Premier Soccer League matches behind a paywall. Skip the stress. Watch your team in high definition, uninterrupted and in real time. ZTM Prime are paywall matches because real fans watch live.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Plus. Now we take a look at some sporting action. We start off with the big one. Chibuku Super Cup defending champions Dynamos overcame the ignominy of starting their cup defense in the preliminary round with a 4-3 penalty shootout win over Yada at Ngoni Stadium this afternoon. The match had ended goalless in regulation time in what was Kelvin Kaindo's first match as Dynamo's coach. Denver Mukamba missed for Dynamos, while Takunda Vareta and Vincent were the fall guys for Yada. Dynamos will now face Zimbabwe in the first round at Wadzanai on Saturday. That match will be live right here on ZTN Prime, so do make sure to watch it.
We are happy that the guys are responding very well and give us some confidence in them going forward. I think it's good for us. We have familiarized with the team and positive results. I think it's a positive note. Yeah, our only objective is to survive the region. We are not worried much about the Chibuku Cup, but we are worried about the relegation. Yeah, as I alluded earlier on, that it gives us a direction, it gives us confidence with the team so that we prepare well and we survive the relegation. Yeah, indeed, it's very difficult game because Zimbabwe, they are playing well and they are defending champion. We are going to face a difficult game. It's more than every game is at stake, so we can't talk about the last game.
Now, Yada's poor season continues in typical fashion after another good performance failed to yield a win, and coach Maxo Jongwe expressed his frustration with an early exit.
It's unfortunate. Can't go with smash and grab. Unfortunately, we were grabbed out of it. I think this is one thing which we're talking of the game. We're talking of the game which has been played. Now you're already asking me about where I am. Don't you think it's a bit far-fetched? Let's talk about what happened today. Dynamos won in a penalty shootout. We gave it the best shot. As you could see, we had many chances. We couldn't convert. So it had nothing to do with the position where we are. We gave it our best shot. And surely what is more painful probably is eventually to be eliminated. Because on my statistics, if they serve me well, I thought our opponents took 2 shots on target the whole game. And when we are eliminated, obviously it's painful. It has nothing to do with that's another ball game completely different from what we were doing today.
The Chibuku Super Cup action continues tomorrow with Triangle playing against Quaker United at Mandawa in another preliminary round match. Now, in some look at cricket, Brendan Taylor will make his return to international cricket tomorrow as Zimbabwe play New Zealand in their second test at Queen's Sports Club in Bulawayo. The Chevrons trailed the two-match test series 1-0, with Taylor's return expected to boost their batting options, an area that they have struggled with. We spoke to cricket analyst Rimbo Chakoreka and asked him whether Taylor should walk into the starting 11 after a 3.5-year absence from international cricket.
I think Brendan Taylor is a fantastic addition to the side. He's going to bring so much into it because, number one, he carries a lot of experience from his previous years, having played for the Chevrons. And number two, he comes in with a little bit of form, albeit is the NPL, and the quality and the standard is definitely going to rise when he gets into the test match. But he scored 100. So that is important. At least he's within the right frame of mind and is able to construct an innings to get to the three figures. Brendan Taylor will also strengthen that middle order. However, Zimbabwe's issues will always remain with what will happen with the top order. Brian Bennett and Ben Curran have had on and off purple patches here where they've shown that they can be able to carry Zimbabwe's innings along. In this second test, would love to see them hanging around just a little bit more, wear out the new ball, and then allow the middle order to get into it.
Now, Koreka also shared insights on how Taylor's return will influence the Chevrons' performance against the Black Caps.
So one of the things that I think every general cricket supporter, cricket analyst, us as media would be hoping to see in this second test match is competition, being competitive. I think Zimbabwe has just not been competitive enough in the test series against South Africa, and ultimately coming into this one in the first test match, we were just not competitive enough. We need to be able to bat out a full day. Zimbabwe is struggling to do that. We're struggling to get past the 300-run mark against very competitive sides. Albeit we did it against Afghanistan, yes, and you know, we showed a bit of fight and grit there. But against competitive sides, we need to be able to get to scores of 300 plus. That's the only way you give yourself a bit of a shot, especially within the first innings of applying some pressure. So I'd love to see some competition. Our batting order needs to do much better. In terms of our bowling, the conceding of runs has to really come down. Yes, we are taking the wickets. Sometimes we're taking 16, 17 wickets in a test match, but we're conceding far too many runs. Vincent Masekesa was going at around about 7 and over in the South African test. We saw even the likes of Tanaka Chivanga going at around about 4-5 in a test match. We need to bring those figures down, tighten up our lines, tighten up our bowling so that we can be competitive. Outside of that, I think to wish for a win would be a little bit far-fetched.
Outside of cricket and still in sport, foreign-based stars Ryan Gwizima and Blessing Mwati lit up the 2025 Zimbabwe Squash National Championships in the men's A section to cap off incredible individual seasons for the players. Gwizima, ranked 169 in the world, beat Mwati to win the 2025 title as local talents also collected ranking points. The Squash Rackets Association has hailed the continued exposure of local talent with international flair as international competitions loom for the national team.
But yeah, players showed up. It was a very, very intense tournament. I would say especially on the A section for the men's. It was a very, very big and strong draw. We had two foreign-based players, Ryan Gwizima and Blessing Mwati. They made a difference during the finals, and the crowd tend to be impressed by how these guys were playing, and you know, juniors looking up to them. It is very, very important where, you know, the mixing of those foreign-based players in A and B section helps the other guys. You know, they know that they have to get to a certain stage. They know they've got a long way to work, and it gives them that hope of saying, okay, fine, if I train more, I'll get to this stage. So it is very important having those guys.
Liverpool striker Darwin Núñez is reportedly closing in on a move to Saudi club Al Hilal, which could allow the Premier League champions to make a fresh bid for Newcastle's Alexander Isak. Núñez joined the Reds for an initial £7 million from Benfica, 3 years ago, but has failed to live up to that price tag. The Uruguayan has scored 40 goals in 143 appearances, but slipped down the pecking order at Anfield under both Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot. According to transfer specialist Fabrizio Romano, Al Hilal will pay initial $53 million for the 26-year-old. That's all we had for you on News Plus. I'm Faith Nyaude. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.